what? I can fix this. Okay, now that I fixed that issue, let's get about how I feel about this keyboard. This is a pretty unique keyboard that actually takes a bit of learning, a bit more than expected, and even when you do learn it, you'll be faced with some nuances that will make this keyboard either a decent ergonomic option or a flawed pursuit. I have decent hopes for this keyboard. Hope I'm not let down. But if you want to prevent your keyboard from becoming a flawed pursuit, you should check out Novel Key so you can fill your keyboard with some awesome switches. Check out switches like the Novel Key Cream switches or the new Silent Ink switches for a fun typing experience. My promo code for this month is Giorgio, Giorgio, and if you use that promo code, you'll save 5% on your order. Back to talking about this Expose keyboard. Starting off with the absolute basics. This keyboard comes with a sleeve and a USB-C cable. Yes, USB-C. That's always a welcome sight, although I have slight disagreements with the port itself. The top of the case has a small lip that hangs over the USB-C port, and I've had some cables not make a firm enough connection because of this lip. So if you're best using the cable they provide, unless you're willing to bust out a file or Dremel. The case is low profile, but somehow lacks the sleekness that most low-profile keyboards strive to be. Instead of being sleek, the keyboard looks bulky due to the large-sized keycaps and swaths of open keycapless low-profile areas of angles and shapes. With TKL features in roughly a TKL size, this keyboard looks out of place with keycap location densities. I would best define the look as a bit lumpy. Not my preferred look, but a lot of ergonomic keyboards don't subscribe to traditional ideals of how a keyboard should look anyways. As we go to the underside, we can see the case is a simple two-part construction with the top and bottom screwing to each other through screws through the PCB. Flip out feet allow you to decide if you want this to have an angle or not, and I think it's best with it. Digging inside, there is the PCB without any special frills at all to it. To program the PCB, you'll need to download the driver software from the Expose website. From this, you can remap keys across 4 layers, create hotkeys, macros, control media controls, and replace your mouse clicks how you like, and of course, customize that sweet, sweet RGB action. The keycaps are, odd, because Expose has their own unique keycaps for this keyboard, and I wish they did a bit more. I don't mean in the overall material or feel, which it is, cheap feeling ABS, but in the sculpt of the profile. It feels like they just took OEM, and then they made certain keys bigger to accommodate their position on the keyboard. Of course, these are double-shot ABS and palm for that RGB to shine through. They're not particularly thick. They get the job done, though. But if you get this keyboard, don't expect to be changing your caps out. If I remember correctly on their Instagram, they've been teasing some other keycaps in the future. But for now, when you go on their site, what you see here is going to be what you get. The stabilizers underneath are passable for an OEM, so I'll give them due credit for that. Let's move on to that typing experience. The typing experience is interesting in that it's it has its good and bads. I've used this board for the last 3 months on and off quite a bit, and I think having a longer time frame is important when reviewing a board like the Expos due to its unique layouts. In terms of basic ergonomics, there are things that are done right, and things I think that are done honestly wrong. While it did take me a bit to get used to the middle thumb buttons, I found them surprisingly usable, especially for someone who traditionally only uses his left thumb and not his right at all. So with that in mind, I'm a fan that this keyboard doesn't have a right thumb bias for the spacebar like other split keyboards do. The backspace kinda looks ridiculous, and some of the numbers closer to the inward edges higher up feel really awkward to reach due to the keycap profile. These would be like 5, 6, 7, 8, T, Y, those kind of keys near this middle part. Everything else just kind of fit on the board for the sake of it. I mean, that's not really a complaint since it does have the full functionality of a TKL as well as being programmable, but there's kind of like no beauty to these keys here on the side. Then again, there aren't too many ergo boards I would define as beautiful. The keyboard does have some benefits in terms of ergonomics, but I don't think they're universal, like I said, with the odd reach. At no point in my time frame of using this keyboard can I reliably achieve over 120 words per minute, so I never felt like I could type as fast as I could with other boards. But of course, when you're typing ergo, it's about comfort, not speed. And in terms of comfort, it's a bit lacking. My hand sometimes felt smaller than this board was intended for because I felt I was reaching sometimes. I always felt lacking. I always felt like I needed to reach farther than comfort would have me go. And that's always a big shame for a board like this. As a mechanical keyboard, I think the quality falls painfully short for the $200 price tag. Cheap keycaps, cheap construction, not the most stylish, and has okay ergonomics, but I still think the ergonomics part falls pretty short. And in that regard, if you're going to get an ergonomic keyboard, you're honestly better off with the Microsoft Natural Ergonomic 4000 for $50 or the Sculpt Ergonomic for $65. And if it has to be a mechanical keyboard, the Kinesis Advantage, Mistel Barocco, Kinesis Freestyle Edge. It's really hard for me to give a recommendation for this keyboard at the full price. And I fortunately did not receive this at the full price. I got those on eBay for $100, and at $100, yeah, it's pretty decent as a mechanical ergonomic keyboard. But at $200, no, it is not. So after all is said and done, I feel like this was a wasted effort due to failed expectations. Overall, this is an endeavor I would not want to do again, and if I could, I wish I could just rewind all of this. You know what? I can fix this. Probably not worth it, though.